Okay, this is a video for the qualifier, the second qualifier of the ESL ANZ champs. And this first game, playing against Winota here, this one went pretty smoothly, just able to get a couple of Thought Thieves onto the board that they couldn't really deal with, so pretty straightforward. I didn't have too much trouble in the first game here. They play a Blade Historian, but I do have a Heartless Act. I actually drew kind of well this game, which this is the rare occasion you'll actually see me draw okay. I can just keep attacking with the Thought Thieves, and I'm not too worried about pretty much anything they could draw. Mystical Dispute not looking the best when the opponent has a lot of mana. If they attacked there, I could have activated the land to block it, which I'm guessing is why they didn't attack. And I can just keep sending the Thought Thieves in. The reason they're not blocking with the Spellbinder is because I can just play the Thought Thief straight back out with Lurrus. I could have even countered this Innkeeper. It probably would be a waste of a counter spell, but they wouldn't gain 2 life, and they would have to block my Thought Thieves next turn. But here they go for the attack with Magda. I guess they forgot about the land that I can turn on. If I had have countered the Innkeeper, I wouldn't have had the mana to do that. But I don't think there's anything the opponent can do from this point to win the game. Anything they draw, I could just counter. They have the land that they can activate, but that's not going to get them very far when I'm at 19 life. Don't know if I sideboarded correctly here. I think I wanted to keep removal in the deck, so I think I cut into the stories. But anyway, I'm just going to go into the next game. Okay, so game 2 here of match 1. I think I just lost this game to Clothless. I did not draw my counter spells to stop it. And once it's on the board, I can't really do anything about it. And it's a huge problem for this deck. So yeah, I think I just lost this game because they got to resolve Clothless. And also, I drew just like a ton of lands this game. Just land after land after land. Barely even drew the lands that I could actually use, like the Aghanim Awakening there. But with Clothless, I couldn't really use my clings because they kept my graveyard pretty low. And they just ended up exiling clings also. And finally, I draw something that's not a land. I was waiting for that Wind Robber for a long time, I think. Had I drawn it any earlier, like any turn before this turn, maybe I still had a chance to win this game. But it was a kind of too little too late situation. I have the Soul Shatter in case they have anything worth using it on. I think I'm just thinking about drawing with the Wind Robber. I probably won't, because I might want to block with it, seeing that I'm at 3 life. And at some point I have to start attacking with Lurrus because I haven't drawn any more Cling to Dust. But yeah, this was a tough game. It's pretty hard to beat Clothless. And yeah, I just got Mana Flood like really bad this game, which is why It would have been nice to have into the story, but I think I boarded them out because I thought they might be too slow. It's a pretty good Soul Shatter target that they played. Even though they have the Savior, they can't stop Soul Shatter. Here I made a mistake. I don't know why I passed so quickly to attackers, because I'm forced to attack with Lurrus. So I should have drawn a card with a Wind Robber before I went into combat here, because then I could have played it again and drawn an extra card. Yeah. Yep. So there was a mistake there, and I think I just lose the game. I can't be at 1 life when they have Clothis on the board, which is why I have to just throw Lurrus away there. And I think this game's just over here. They have enough to just attack me and kill me. I could have had an extra blocker and I could have drawn another card if I played differently, but it would have been pretty hard to win this game anyway, I think. But I could have survived another turn and maybe drawn something. And yeah, you can see I had all of the Into the Stories out of the deck, hoping that the Cling to Dust would be enough card draw, but when they have Clothis, it's oh yeah, also I just got Mana Flood, so we'll go to the next game. Okay, game 3 of match 1. I messed up this game pretty bad. But yeah, I got pretty low on health like pretty early here before I could start getting back into the game. I think I make a mistake here, like a small mistake. I animate the Hive and then I decide, how about I draw a card with the Cling to see what I get. I didn't really want to exile all those creatures from the graveyard, but I did draw a pretty good creature there, like the Thieves' Guild Enforcer. A lot better blocker than my 3/3 land was. I did draw a Cling to Dust, but I have Hive anyway to exile their Ox that just got milled from the Thieves' Guild Enforcer. So even though I'm at 2 here, I do have a Cling in my hand to gain some life. I can destroy their lands that they're activating. I have a counter spell. So I was kind of feeling pretty safe here. I used the Cling just to draw a card. Might have been safer to gain some life, but then I wouldn't have drawn this Agadeem's Awakening. I still have Didn't Say Please in case they draw a Bone Crusher Giant. So yeah, I got the game back to this position and it looks like I should win. It looks like there's no way I can lose this game. But the opponent kept drawing pretty well. I felt like I had to counter that removal spell then. Also, it puts another card in my graveyard. And I didn't hear... Yeah. I was thinking, do I have lethal? And then I didn't even really take much time to think about it. I guess because my clock was kind of low. But I just needed to attack with Lurrus here. I could have even animated the land and attack with everything. But the one card the opponent drew off the top of their deck, and I didn't check how many cards I had in the graveyard. I was actually one short of using the Cling when I thought, I think I thought I had enough, but I didn't. And they draw Bone Crusher off the top, and that's why I lost match 1. So yeah, that was match 1. I did make a mistake at the end, but they also had to draw the Bone Crusher Giant off the top. I don't think any other card in their entire deck would have won them the game there. But anyway, it's still a mistake by me to not win that game. So I'll go on to the next match now. Okay, match 2. Playing against a cleric deck here. It's nice to have something different, a bit of variety. I guess it's also nice to draw 3 Thieves Guild Enforcers. That also doesn't happen very often. Considering attacking with Lurrus here, I don't know if I do or not. I mainly just want to get them low on health. But I think trading Lurrus for their cleric wouldn't be the worst. But I probably it's better just to have Lurrus, I think. But I wanted to make sure I could get them as low on life as possible, which is why I felt the need to keep attacking. Because when they have more life, their deck gets a lot better. And there's the fourth Thieves Guild Enforcer. So even though they're gaining a lot of life, and I probably won't win through damage, they are just going to run out of cards. I can even draw from the Wind Robber, play it again. That's another 8 cards. They only had 10 cards left. I don't know why I made this play. But I'm pretty sure I just win this turn by milling them. So I can draw from the Wind Robber, I think, play it out again. And yeah, I drew another rogue. So that's just game. I didn't even need to do that attack. So yeah, that was game 1 of match 2. I think maybe I just put the Crippling Fears in from the sideboard. Yep. But anyway, I'll go on to the next match now. Soul Guide Lantern coming in as well. Okay, game 2 of match 3 now. Match 3? Match 2. game 2 of match 2. Still playing against the Clerics. They have, what is it, Silencer? Silverquill Silencer, which is a card you don't see very often. I think they named Cling to Dust. So if I do play Cling, I lose 3 life and they draw a card. So I can't really use Cling to gain me life. Because all it really does is let them draw a card. And they got me down to 3, so that meant that okay, maybe they didn't name... I think they might have named Drown in the lock with this one. They probably should have named Cling, though. So yeah, down to 3 here. But I do have ways to gain life, kind of. I do have the Drown in the lock to stop what they do. I had to read the Cleric class. I don't really see that card very often. And I just let it go. I think I'm going to counter the Disciple here. Which means I don't have Drown in the lock anymore. So that's kind of scary. But I did get to play Lurrus. And they had Shatter the Sky, which is pretty funny. If I had one more land, I could Agadeem's Awakening to get the Lurrus back. They got to play their own Lurrus after the Shatter the Sky. I do have Soul Shatter to stop the Lurrus, and I have Thieves Guild Enforcer that I can also play. I think here is where they name Cling to Dust. So I can't really escape that from my grave from this point because I'm at 3 life. But I can block this, I suppose I had 2 blockers here to block it with. And now Kling's available. I think I just draw a card. No, okay, I exile their Lurrus. It's probably safer. Because I knew that they had cards in their deck to get creatures back from the grave. So it's a pretty safe bet, exiling a Lurrus there. And here I just have a counter spell for whatever they have, which is a pretty good card to counter. I was thinking, yeah, when they cast it, I was like, I could cling the creature they're getting out of the graveyard, but then I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to discard 2. That would be pretty bad. So I better just counter it. So I can get a pretty good Agadeem's Awakening here. Also, they just have to chump the Thieves' Guild Enforcer, which is pretty good for me anyway. So yeah, I got a lot of Thieves' Guild Enforcers in this match. But there was match 2. And yeah, I actually won that one. So we'll go on to the next match now. Okay, match 3 now. And playing as Sultai Ultimatum, which I think is the best matchup for me. I don't even know why I counted this Extinction event when I could have just drawn a couple of cards. I don't know why I did that. But I don't have a counterspell for the Ultimatum if they have it. Even after playing into the story, I don't have a counterspell. So yeah, I think this is like probably my best matchup because of all the counterspells in this deck. But yeah, they get to have the Ultimatum here, which generally I think 99% of the time I don't let happen. But I guess I didn't really have a choice here. I shouldn't have used that Drowning Lock earlier. I didn't even notice that before. Don't know why I counted Extinction Event. That doesn't make any sense. When I could have saved Drowning Lock for that. Unless I really needed the opponent to have cards in their graveyard, maybe that's why I used the Extinction Event. I mean, why I counted the Extinction Event. But yeah, I don't really think that was the correct play. But yeah, I kept playing this game even after the opponent got to resolve a ultimatum. But yeah, I don't think I ever had a chance of actually winning it. So yeah, I don't think the rest of this game is that interesting. I might even skip ahead a bit. I have another Aaron's Epiphany. I probably just concede even if I counter this, they still get a 7/7, and I did draw the Mystical Dispute. Would have been nice to have that card earlier. But yeah, I don't think there's any way I don't lose this game. It's nice to have Into the Story. I have 3 of them in hand, but still don't really think it's enough. I think I might have struggled drawing lands this game as well. Disdainful Stroke, yeah. Pretty sure that's game there. I'm just going to skip ahead a bit. think from this point, I was trying to just mill the opponent because potentially I could win that way. They are, with the Professor Onyx, they're like basically milling 3 cards themselves. And I've got a couple of Thieves' Guild Enforcers and Lurus. But yeah, here comes the Crippling Fear. And I think I wasn't expecting them to have a Crippling Fear. That's kind of weird. Don't know if you see that too often in this deck. Because if they did have, I suppose Extinction Event would have just wiped my whole board and they would have kept everything. So that would have been even worse for me. But yeah, I had a small chance of winning this game if I could mill the opponent, but yeah, did not happen. But the deck does get even better after the sideboard anyway. And again, when I draw 4 cards, I expect to draw a land, at least one, but all I get is a tap land, which I think I already had in my hand. I have Cling to Dust to gain 3, and I could Mystical Dispute something. But yeah, I should have skipped more to the end of this game. But you got to see the ultimatum anyway. I could counter Seagate Restoration, but if they're drawing more cards, then they're closer to getting milled anyway. But they still had 24 cards, so even if I had gained 3 life then, I was still dead, so Cling wasn't an option. But yeah, I get to just counter it. I just get to decide in all of my counter spells. And I'll go to the next game. Okay, game 2 of match 3 now. I wish I hadn't spent so long on game 1. But anyway, they have the Crippling Fear again. But here I make the actual correct play of just sacrificing the Wind Robbers. Don't know why I didn't do that in the first game. But I think this game goes smoother. Don't really know why I played into the story on my turn here. I could have just waited to the end of the opponent's turn. Because now if I don't play some cards, I'll be discarding. So I guess that was a mistake. But I have plenty of lands that I can just throw away anyway. So I have the counter for the Shadow's Verdict. And they didn't have a Mystical Dispute. So now I can get Lurus. And I don't think I can lose this. I suppose it's possible. I suppose it's possible to lose from here. But I still have a Mystical Dispute in case they have something big like a Vorinclex. And I think they're just dead now. Yep. Have 8 damage on the board. I don't really need to do anything else. So I'll go on to game 3 now. Probably not going to make any changes to the sideboard. Okay, game 3. I'm just letting Cultivate go here, even though I could counter it. Just want to save my counter spells for other things. And the fact that I have 2 Thought Thieves on the board should end the game pretty quickly. The opponent, I don't think, had any escape cards, so that was also good for me. I can't counter Coma, but luckily I have the Drown in the Lock to just kill it before it does anything. So even though they spend 7 mana on the coma, I can just kill it pretty easily. And I think the game's just over at this point. Disdainful Stroke can stop anything that will do anything. And the opponent's dead, so that was match 3. Pretty good matchup for me. I was pretty happy when I saw that I got matched up against Sultai. So I'll go on to the next match now. Okay, match 4 now. Playing against a Death Touch, green-black Death Touch deck. And yeah, they got 6 poison counters on me. But I don't think I can lose the game from here. They don't have any cards in their hand. I've got plenty of life. Counter spells. 1 counter spell, but yeah. I think this game should probably end pretty quickly from here. Three Mystical Disputes out of 3, I think, that I have in the main deck. And yeah, just playing the Thought Thief, just to try to end the game as quickly as I can. And for once, the opponent just top decking lands. That doesn't happen very often for me. And there's plenty of times where I've had the opponent with no cards left in their hand and behind on the board. But they tend to just draw what they need. Anyway, I'm going to go to the next game of this match. Okay, this is game 2 of match 4. I sideboarded in Test of Talents, just for their removal spells, I think. Got to use it on a ram through here. They only had, they had a few of them in their deck, but I guess the rest of them got milled, and I just leave them in their graveyard. So I have Crippling Fear, but they did just play a Rogue. That's a pretty good double block that I get to do there. Get to draw the card off the Wind Robber anyway. Aghanim's Awakening's not bad. And yeah, not much the opponent can do here. I do have Crippling Fear, but I can't really name Rogue if they still have their Scavenger. But yeah, here I think they want to gain life, but I can just sacrifice the Wind Robber so that they don't gain the life, and then they should pretty much be dead next turn. I think I managed to get enough damage and probably just kill both of their blockers. Okay, I guess I didn't go for lethal this turn, but that's fine. Just waiting for next turn anyway. Can even play into the story here, which isn't really necessary. I think I counted this Foul by Night, drawing a card. And yeah, next turn I can just win. And that was game 2 of match 4. So I won that one 2-0. So I'll go into the next match now. Okay, match 5 here, game 1. When I saw that I was playing against Gruul, I wasn't really confident because I think that's one of the hardest decks to play against with rogues, and it doesn't look like I can win this first game anyway. I think this player was in the finals. Yeah, I think this player got to the grand final and maybe could have even won the grand final. I think that was this player. not 100%. But yeah, there was a Gruul deck. It was this deck. So I think it was this player that made the top 8 and got to the grand final. And nearly beat Winota. But yeah, I was just like, yep, that game's over. So that was game 1. And yeah, even with the sideboard here, I'm like, not really a lot of good options in the sideboard against Gruul. I might put those Soul Shatters in, but anyway, I'll go to the next game. Okay, game 2 here of match 5. And the opponent pretty much had Colossus the whole game. I didn't have the counterspell when I needed it for when they played it. But I was able to just like play well enough to survive Colossus. I kept on with Cling. I managed to like stop a few of the activations of Colossus even happening, which is one of the cool things you can do with Cling to Dust. But this game went on so long that I was kind of running out of time, so I thought I might even run out of time even if it does go to game 3. Would be nice if I had one more mana here, but I didn't, so Into the Story wasn't an option. I maybe should just play Into the Story on my turn here, see what I get. Yeah. Because I do want more cards in my graveyard so that I can use Cling to Dust. But I don't. Now that I've played the Wind Robber, I don't really have the mana to put another card in the grave and use Cling, so I guess that was kind of a mistake. But that would have involved me tapping out and using Drown on one of their, probably the Innkeeper, which wouldn't be the worst. Wouldn't be the worst target for Drown. Okay, I use it anyway, so. Also, I wouldn't have the Wind Robber on the board. That play then was pretty dumb, I remember. Yeah. I was running out of time at this point, so I wasn't taking too long on my decisions. But I felt like I should be able to win the game from this position. And I'm kind of glad I played the Wind Robber, being able to block that. But I shouldn't have even really used my Drown to kill the Innkeeper last turn if I was just going to counter their Love Struck Beast anyway. but I shouldn't be able to lose the game from here. Although, of course, I just milled Ox into their graveyard. But I do have Disdainful Stroke, and if they don't have another red mana, they can't escape it again. So yeah, I think that's how I won. I actually won a game against Gruul here, which it wasn't easy, especially since I had to fight Clothis the whole game. I think even if they could block there, they were dead anyway, so I also could have animated my land for 3 more damage, but that was kind of unnecessary. So yeah, I'll go on to game 3 now. Okay, game 3 of match. What match is this? People were complaining that this match took too long, I think. I think that was this match that people were like, we were the last ones to finish. And they're like, why are you still playing? And there's the Clothis again, which I was like, well, that's kind of game. I didn't have a counter spell anyway, even if I had the mana to use it. And I do have Cling, which can kind of mess with Clothis a little bit. So if they go to exile one of my cards, I can just exile it myself. And I think I do here. Instead of them gaining 2 and me taking 2, I gain 3, which is a pretty big difference. And I still had the mana to drown, but yeah, 1 card short. If they had 1 more card in their graveyard, I would have been able to counter the Ox there. But they didn't. And then I make this bad play because I'm running out of time anyway. I've only got 2 minutes on the clock, so yeah. Wasn't in a great position anyway. And yeah, I think I just concede now. Yeah, that game was never gonna go my way, I don't think. They got Clothis and the Great Henge, yeah, and Ox, and yeah, not much I could do. So I wasn't really I wasn't annoyed at playing badly in these games because I played so well in game 2. I probably should have just lost that game, but I played so well that I managed to win it. And yeah, I'll go on to the next. Unfortunately, not able to beat Gruul, but I think it's a pretty bad matchup. And I'll go on to the next match now. Okay, match 6 now. I think I'm playing against a player that made the top 8 last after the first qualifier. Playing a Winota deck, and I kind of just didn't really. I think they might get to use the Winota this time because I just did not draw a way to stop it. Did manage to get Luris though. But yeah, here comes Winota, and it's basically just game. When I'm playing against Winota, I kind of do everything I can to stop Winota from triggering, but yeah, they not only did they have Winota, but they hit some pretty good cards off it. So yeah, after sideboard, I think the deck gets a little better. But I'll go into the next match now. Next game of this match. Okay, so game 2. And I'm pretty sure I just make mistakes this game, and that's why I lose. I also don't draw very well, which doesn't help. But I have Vivian here. I do have Soul Shatter. Unfortunately, it's taxed. So I can't really do anything else when I Soul Shatter. But it's a pretty good way to get rid of their Planeswalker there. And what are they called? The Spellbinders? Spellbinders were pretty annoying this game. So I do have Crippling Fear here, but instead I go for Into the Story expecting to draw a land. Of course, the only land I draw is a Hive, and that's a tap land. So had I just drawn an untapped land then, I would still have Disdainful Stroke or Heartless Act available. They get to tax the Crippling Fear, which is annoying. But next turn, I think I don't even need to play Crippling Fear. Maybe. It looks like it's a good play. I didn't even think about it, as you see, and that was like a pretty quick play there. But I think I could have survived had I not played it. And of course, the last card in the opponent's hand, I think it was Winota. So they get to play Winota, activate the Chariot, and of course they hit Blade Historian off the top. So literally the only way they could kill me. So that's pretty funny, pretty good for them. I could have also made the decision not to attack with a Thought Thief on the previous turn, and then I wouldn't have been dead anyway. But I think if I go back and I don't play Crippling Fear, I can probably survive. And then I don't have to worry about Winota because I would have the mana just to counter it, and I would have removal spells and things like that. Maybe I could have bought Lurrus instead. But that was just, again, I put myself in a good position against Winota, but they just have exactly what they need off the top. So not really much you can do. I could make better decisions, but yeah. It kind of doesn't matter when your opponent draws perfectly. But I probably could have won anyway. But anyway, that was that game. Pretty quick loss there, losing 2-0. So I'll go to the last match now. Okay, match 7 here, the last match. And I think I'm just going to show the entire match this time, because it was a pretty quick match, and I kind of wish that every game would go like this. I actually drew kind of well, even though my starting hand wasn't great, as a lot of lands. But I think the opponent didn't draw very well, which also helps. It took like 20 minutes just to even start this match because the opponent wasn't there, which was kind of annoying, but at least the match didn't take very long. I'm not sure what they had in their hand, but they weren't playing anything. I think they missed a land drop there, and they're pretty much already dead to these rogues. So yeah, that was the entire game 1. I mean, it helps when your opponent does absolutely nothing, I guess. But also, I actually drew the cards that I want to draw in that situation. So yeah, the sideboard here, I should probably just skip. I'll skip ahead a bit. It's probably not very interesting. Okay, that's the sideboard done. Okay, well, I didn't need to skip it. And yeah, turn 1 Thieves Good Enforcer, turn 2 Sorry Thought Thief, both games. I suppose it also helps that the opponent didn't do anything. I don't know. Yeah, I think the opponent maybe just had given up or something, or wasn't even trying. Don't know why they played that land on green when they already had green. It was a weird game. So they played a Chariot. I do have Disdainful Stroke. I drew Drown in the Lock there, so that's pretty good. I also had the Soul Shatter anyway, so I didn't really need the Drown. I think I just Soul Shatter this, yeah. And yeah, they're pretty much already dead. So yeah, this was the last match, match 7. And yeah, they just had the counter for the Canvas. I could have even just killed it. Yeah, they were just dead anyway. I don't know why. I don't know what was in their hand, but yeah. pretty easy set of games. That's definitely not how every match goes against Winota, as you've seen. But anyway, that was it for this qualifier, the second qualifier. And I didn't make the top 8 this time because my record was only like 4-3. But I did make the top 32. So overall, I was still in the top 8. So yeah, I'm glad I played this last game because it was worth it to make the top 32, I think. But yeah, I'll play in the next one. That's probably in a couple of weeks. And hopefully, I think this went well, except for like 1 or 2 bad plays, which is that's bound to happen when you're playing like 7 matches and however many games that is. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video for the ESL ANZ Champs Qualifier 2. So thanks for watching. Bye.